Donald Trump tells us that prices are going down when they're going up. He claims gas is $1.98 a gallon, but in reality it's $4 to $6. This is the playbook of the propagandist. This is what authoritarians do.
You have gasoline that hit $1.98 yesterday in a couple of states. You have gasoline's way down. The price of oil has dropped substantially.
But those claims are mostly false. According to AAA, the two states with the lowest gas prices in the country are Tennessee and Mississippi, which are both averaging $2.69 a gallon. And the national average today is $3.16 a gallon, which is way down from a year ago, but slightly higher than when the president took office.
Concerns are growing among economists and statisticians that the Trump regime's cynical view of factual data might transcend fiction and take root in real-world policymaking. With Donald Trump's well-documented antagonism toward unfavorable economic data and trade analysis, many fear that the administration could begin targeting government employees tasked with producing unbiased statistics. A proposed rule change is at the center of this worry. If implemented, it would make it easier to dismiss federal workers deemed to be obstructing presidential directives. Experts warn that this could potentially open the door to firing economic statisticians whose data contradicts political narratives. Federal agencies like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS, and the Bureau of Economic Analysis, the BEA, provide critical information used by the Federal Reserve to manage interest rates and inflation. The data is also fundamental to business strategy and investment decisions. The United States has long been trusted as a reliable source of accurate economic statistics, a trust built over generations since the BLS was established in 1884. Undermining this credibility could severely damage the country's global economic standing. The Trump regime, facing shrinking GDP figures and criticism over its tariff policies, may now be tempted to exert pressure on civil servants to adjust the narrative, potentially compromising statistical integrity. There's deep concern about the implications of the proposed personnel policy, and whilst there's no current evidence of manipulation, the policy could pave the way for politically motivated firings under the guise of poor performance or misconduct. Under an executive order signed on Trump's inauguration day, approximately 50,000 federal jobs could be reclassified as policy or career roles, making them easier to terminate. While specific positions have yet to be identified, there's fears that statisticians could be among the targets. BLS officials might be dismissed for publishing job or inflation data seen as politically damaging. This could foster a culture where political loyalty outweighs expertise and objectivity. Trump has previously dismissed unfavorable statistics as fake while touting the same metrics when they aligned with his narrative. Following disappointing GDP numbers early in Biden's term, particularly linked to the lingering effects of trade policy, Trump deflected blame and praised his own economic record instead. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who oversees many of the federal data agencies, has floated the idea of revising how GDP is calculated, a shift that could paint a more favorable economic picture that would diverge from long-standing international standards. Critics argue that tampering with statistical impartiality could erode trust in U.S. data, aligning the country with nations like Argentina and Greece, whose governments faced international scrutiny for manipulating economic figures. In Argentina's case, the IMF labeled its inflation data as unreliable, delaying loans and undermining its financial stability. Greece's data distortion contributed to a devastating financial crisis and political upheaval. Despite these cautionary tales, the Trump regime's reported discomfort with economic indicators that reflect poorly on its policies raises the risk of similar interference. Replacing or defunding key agencies like the BEA or BLS could lead to politically engineered data. Accurate economic data is essential for the Federal Reserve to implement sound policy, and without it, Trump could increase pressure on the Fed and its chair, Jerome Powell, whom he has previously accused of political bias for resisting interest rate cuts. The erosion of data integrity is linked to broader attacks on public institutions, including journalism. Undermining data collection is part of a strategy to blur public understanding and obstruct accountability. Even short-term disruptions to federal data efforts could have irreversible consequences. A break in long-running data series permanently severs continuity and impairs the ability to analyze historical trends. Access to factual information is vital for informed democratic decision-making. Manipulating statistics to fit political agendas is a hallmark of efforts to weaken democracy itself. In George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984, there's a Ministry of Truth, which is responsible for propaganda, historical revisionism, culture, and entertainment. Its main role is to help control the population through that misinformation and outright lies and lack of information so that the state can maintain total power over the people. Trump didn't invent this stuff, but he sure has adopted it, as his cruelty and dictatorial leanings get stronger with every passing day. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch and help us blow past 1 million followers.